trying to get him to 50 so I can start earning champion points with him before the expansion comes out, but I keep getting stuck doing other games.
Excellent. Bring the crystal with you. You will need it to free me from my bonds.
Sure I will. I'm in Cold Harbor now, so should make things a little interesting. Do I have any titles yet? No titles with this guy.
I have waited for centuries. And waited and waited. Do you know how boring that can be? But now, you are here. Just as Meridia foretold. The Radiant One knows many things. She knew that one day the city she plunged into Cold Harbor would
King,
serve her purpose.
Yeah.
At first, have no fear.
More like Bal.
I am as alive as you are.
Alright, so how do I hit free? And I can get a bow that I won't use.
Molag Bal locked me away for a... You made it this far, just as I had predicted. I am glad to see that my calculations...
Right, let's just move on.
Bring the light. Hurry. You made it this far. I was captured shortly after Meridia.
44.
Molag Bal has trapped me within a pillar of darkness. To reach me, you must first unlock the prison door.
Gotta unlock the prison door.
Molag Bal.
And move the crystals.
I am the last alien king.
And goodbye.
In our...
So, from the darkness, completed. Talk to protection. Well, let's do our level up. Going full magical build on this guy. Hey, what's up, Ripper? Good to see you, sir. And storm calling. Maybe I'll actually just stick to my destruction staff here. Or resto. Yeah. Speaking of, just realized I need to enchant you. There we go. Alright, so into the lightless oubliette. Must find oubliette crystals. My favorite word. Oubliette. Got my trusty tank here.
Enter the light. Collect the Mind Shadow crystal. Then place it on the central dais at the entrance.
Look, another dude.
Enter the frozen alcove and collect the Flame Shadow crystal. Then place it on the central dais at the entrance.
Oh, they made over there. Okay. Obviously, guys, we're just waiting for Chris and Rob. Rob Lashley. There we go. So they'll be joining via Skype here pretty soon. Oh, I can't get that way? Oh, no, I totally went the wrong way. But we can make it this way.
Enter the garden and collect the Life Shadow crystal. Then place it on the central dais at the entrance.
Saw that go. this guy with the Dark Brotherhood or anything like that yet. But that's okay. Love to stream some Mass Effect Andromeda for you guys tonight, but I'm past the part where I'm actually allowed to stream anymore. So I could start over, but it's not as fun. Oh my god, I actually have a full inventory for the first time in a while. Wow, things got really bright. I'm supposed to go back. Oh, hello. And make our way back over here. This is a long quest to get the Ayleid King. Alright. We will throw this sucker up here. One crystal down. Not sure what the next thing is actually. Over here. Alright. Frozen out. All this for an old dead dude, I tell ya. I know Rob's actually signed into Skype, but I haven't seen Chris show up yet. He's got kids at home too, just like me, so he might be running a little bit late. Alright, yeah. You frozen guys, stay there. I will take this. It works for me. Okay. And dead. I should just have to put this crystal back and then one more. Oops. Okay, it is this way. Cutler. Oh man. Tiny little wisps. Everybody look out. Most unexciting quest right now. My shadow crystal. There we go. That's a very bright light. Oh, nice. So we might be joined pretty soon here. I think Chris will be recording. I'm just live streaming the whole thing. Chris was busy watching People vs. OJ on Netflix. That makes sense. Alright, let's go get this alien bastard here.
Well done, my friend. Now, enter the oubliette and set me free.
You guys are going to get a rare peek into what goes on with our live streams. Real fun. Or not our live streams, our podcasts. I will be recording while Chris orchestrates and leads the podcast. I have no idea what our topics are. I haven't even had a chance because I have kids at home too.
You have done well to make it this far.
Oh yeah.
But there is still more to do to set me free. My body is imprisoned within a pillar of darkness, generated by the ebon shards to each side.
Alright. Man, I can't remember how to do this little puzzle. If I'm not mistaken, gotta get the light all the way over here. Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Adjust the crystals until the beams of light destroy the ebon shards. Then the pillar of darkness will collapse, and I shall be free.
All right. Hello, hello, hello.
Don't want any, couldn't use it even if I had it.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Telemarketers, dude. You never...
Oh.
Don't want any, don't need any, couldn't even use it if I had it.
But did you know your auto warranty is about to expire? And if you press 1 right now, we can offer a free expiration.
This is what happens.
You guys don't get those?
They just start talking. I don't answer those.
They
I don't
can fuck
answer
off.
those. Yeah.
Dude, I get them all the time now. Honest to God, I get probably 3 a day. It drives me nuts because they call right in the middle of my school day, and I always have to pull my phone out to make sure it's not Becky calling or something.
Yeah.
No.
But I always know it's them because they call from Alabama or California. Or Tennessee. That's
They're just auto dialers. It has nothing to do with where they're actually at. It's a robo dialer's a huge bane on the industry. My dog just decided to go fucking crazy.
I have a little goat pet. I just realized it.
You have a goat, like in real life, or
No, in Elder Scrolls. Of course not in real life. Nothing's real life.
Just a random goat in the back closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, just realized it was back there buying.
What the heck is this
Dog.
puzzle doing? There we go.
I'll go have
Takes
to kill him.
forever. So yeah, this is a peek into the recording of Game On, the podcast from MMORPG.com, guys. Chris is the orchestrator of this whole thing, and he's gonna make us all sound professional by the time it's done.
I kind of forgot we were streaming. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Surprise.
I just didn't give a shit. Hello.
There's not like a whole lot of people watching or anything like that. Just a random stream here.
Just the best people. That's
Yeah,
who it is.
Just like three people.
Uh,
Well, we're
three
not
best
on
people.
MMORPG's YouTube. We're on MMORPG's Twitch. We're on GameSpace's YouTube, and then like a random Beam account that I just wanted to try out. And then I'll upload everything to YouTube afterwards. All right, so I'm doing some ESO. I want to grow that GameSpace YouTube, and you need constant videos to get YouTube to actually suggest videos to people. It's really annoying.
Yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that, especially when you ask people to subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Hey, I subscribed today.
I know
You
you,
have a
did.
growing
I
number.
appreciate it. I know, it's amazing. Even better if like the thousands of people that follow me on Twitter would actually subscribe to the goddamn thing. They should live on Twitter and follow my tweets constantly.
People that subscribe on YouTube to things are usually kids looking for Minecraft videos. You got to get on that.
I know.
Rob,
up, Bob?
that's all. Just Minecraft. That's
Yeah.
the secret to recording.
That's really all it is.
I can't do that.
Nope, neither can I. Which is
I'd
why
sooner
we
Oh,
never
you
make
both
$7
can.
million.
You both absolutely can. This is a trick. You put on a Swedish accent
not do
and you
that.
just be really loud.
And you make really racist jokes.
Yeah.
That's the part we don't say out loud.
Oh.
You gotta surprise them, man. That's what it's about. If you don't surprise them, like it's they're gonna be expecting it, and then there's no controversy.
I feel like I'm 10 years too old to have jumped on the YouTube and streaming bandwagon. I just do it because I think it's fun.
Oh, that's really why you should do it.
Yeah.
So,
I think you're okay for making YouTube videos if you find that enjoyable, but streaming, yeah, you're probably a little
Oh yeah.
late to the party.
I don't wear filthy casual clothing, and I don't know. I'm not a girl either. I don't know if you guys noticed. I'm not a very attractive girl.
Yeah. Why is the GameSpace? GameSpace's Twitch right now is hosting some dude named DJ Tech Live playing Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, that's fine. I'm
Is that
going
you?
Yeah, I'm not going to GameSpace's Twitch. I'm on MMO's Twitch. GameSpace's YouTube. DJ Tech
Okay.
Live is one of our team streamers.
sweet. I need to do some streaming. Although I worry about my upload speed.
Yeah,
Like,
you
it
get
is-
that fixed. You need like at least 3 megabytes a second upload to do 720.
yeah.
That you often beat.
Yeah, I'm a little bit behind that. I don't even know if I'm 1 right now. Roadrunner is terrible up here. Yeah, 3 hours for a gig and a half. 3 hours. And it
just
sucks
worse.
the internet in the whole house too. So like if normal browsing, everything goes way slow. It's terrible.
Did you know there's a GameSpace.hu?
No, is that Hungary?
Yeah. They have 8,349 subscribers.
Oh, those bastards.
Got a pretty
So
cool
else-
logo too.
For those of you who don't know, GameSpace is our brand new website. Like literally, I don't know, 3 weeks old or something like that. GameSpace.com.
That's what we do. We just challenge them to a fight. The winner gets the domain.
The streamer's voice is a bit low compared to the TeamSpeak Discord. Okay, so let me see if I can up my microphone on that. And we'll go into settings. and
I
we'll
just,
turn up the volume.
I would like for you to know that my wife is at work, My son is on a plane to Colorado, and my daughters are staying the night at their grandmother's. And instead of going and doing something fun,
You are here
like
with us.
go watch Logan, which I haven't seen yet, or
You'll do
any
that
other
afterwards.
things I could do without having kids attached to my hips, I've chose to sit here and spend my Friday night talking to you slack asses. So
I didn't say you were
Respect.
smart.
if
Rob,
you
just
don't subscribe
obviously-
to Rant on Rob, I'm gonna be fucking livid by the end of this evening. William Murphy.
That's, hey, I didn't do anything. Chris was the one like, hey, we're doing this tonight? And I'm like, all right.
But forgive me. I wanted to convey
Hey man, this is a great way to spend a Friday night. I spent some Friday nights in some pretty
I'm-
despicable other places. This is okay.
I'm on my way to my third divine animal in Zelda right now. So
Ooh, that's awesome. Have you done
Already
the water one yet?
I'm on the way to the Zora one now.
Yeah, that one's pretty fun.
Come on, Lou, you dumbass. Come on, Charlie.
Those are his.
Do you
mods,
guys
by
ever
the way.
just do you guys ever just reflect on like if somebody who didn't know what we were talking about just like listened and just how incredibly geeky we sound?
Yeah,
So-
well, they got people that watch streams and listen to podcasts
Yeah,
are
very
incredibly
anymore.
geeky.
Yeah, that's very true. And Zelda is amazing. So I don't know what a divine animal is yet,
Those are
but
the
I did
main-
come
main
across.
dungeons.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I did find out about that. But
I've
I
got-
discovered open world bosses. That's a thing.
Oh yeah.
And I've got 3 more shrines scouted out for me to record when we're done. So when I said that I would release at least one video a day, I didn't say I'd actually record and produce a video a day.
Yeah.
There is a cheat, and that is to
Record
put
all
more
the
than
footage
one
at
up at
once.
a time and stagger their release, because I've got too much shit to do. Finish a Nier review, finish that Mocha Doo 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 review you got for me. I've got Water Cat Slugs.
Water
From-
cat slugs?
Yeah, Cat Slugs or something. And then I've got that new Nyx game. I got too much shit. I tried to get Binding of Isaac. I reached out to their PR. I have not heard back yet, but I'm hoping that.
Oh,
hear
did I,
something
Callus? Yeah, I reached out to them today myself for GameSpace, but I'm like, man, I wish I would have done that sooner. It's really
Yeah.
bad form to reach out on the day of launch, but I forgot it was even coming out.
I actually emailed them yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize Nicalis was going to be doing it. You know, I reached out to Nintendo, and they were like, yeah, we're not doing that one. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, Wobbin is watching us on Twitch. You are gonna see spoilers content. This is towards the end of the main quest for Elder Scrolls Online. This is in Cold Harbor. So
All right, have you not killed Mullock Ball yet?
no, I have on my other character. This is my second character.
We have a war
Okay.
to win and
Spoilers, Rob. I didn't know you killed Molag Ball.
And you're dumb.
Well, you don't really kill him. I mean, you can't kill a god.
Yeah. Well, I kind of figured that was probably coming. They do kind of
If
set that up
anybody
from the
asks you
get-go.
if you're a god, Ray, you say yes.
who's in charge of this group?
Hey, can we talk about Mass Effect at all?
We can
On,
talk about
on the
Mass Effect.
podcast?
Yeah, we can only talk up basically through EOS because this podcast is going to go live before the embargo raises.
We shall recover
Okay.
your comrades
Yeah,
and
it'll
Can't
go
talk
up.
about- you can't
Sorry.
talk about the first vault.
if that does not work for you, you'll
All right, I'm gonna trust you to limit yourself on that because I don't know where any of that is. So I've heard it's like what no, I'm thinking of the early access thing was unlimited multiplayer in like 10 hours or whatever.
10
So is it
hours,
just
yeah.
the first planet you guys can talk about, or
Yeah, basically the embargo is all the way up through the first planet.
okay? So let's talk about that in the beginning and then what have we been playing, I guess. I have a rundown of our stories and stuff. Do we want to talk about game reviews? I think that would make a good conversation, but I don't want to make us be overly long, I guess.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we can fit it in, let's fit it in. We'll do all the other stuff first, I guess.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, you want to do it?
Yeah, let's do it. You do the countdown. I'm just sitting here listening to an alien king.
right. That is a great thing to be doing. Like I'm just listening to an Alien King. It's no big deal. Hello everybody, welcome to Game On with MMORPG.com. I am Chris, and with me again is Bill Murphy. Hi, Bill.
Hello, hello. Don't mind me. I'm playing Elder Scrolls while we do this.
That is a good thing to be doing. And Rob Lashley. Hello, Rob.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Bill. I also am logging into Elder Scrolls Online to
Oh.
pester Bill.
And Chris is left out.
You guys are just multitasking in a way I can't manage.
Yeah, well, because you've got to do the hard work. We just talk.
You know, I've tried to stream in the past, right? And the thing is, I get so into the game I'm playing, I wind up with these long like blank spots in the middle that I have to remember to talk.
That's most streamers, to be perfectly honest. Like, unless you're getting a ton of people pestering you on chat, which we don't have because we're not like, we're not Angry Joe or Doc Ock Game or anything. You're just there playing a game.
Yeah, right. See, and you know what I found though? I honestly prefer that. Now, I'm not the average stream watcher, mind you. So when I go to watch a game, I kind of want to see the game and the personality second. So when the dudes are trying to be funny or like over the top during like cutscenes and stuff, most times I'm like, please be quiet until like the story part is over.
Yeah,
That's just kind of where I fall.
I hear you. I hear you.
The reason I stopped streaming is because I hate watching people stream. I cannot stand it. I want to play video games. I don't want to watch other people play video games. I get that some people like to go there for the community, but if you look at those big streamers, the chats are just usually end up being a cesspool, and that's nothing against them.
You can't even keep up with the chat.
Majority of their communication, yeah, I mean, it's insane, and I don't know. It's I don't have anything against the streamers. I don't bear them any ill will in the least bit. Good on them for being able to do what they do, and some of them are really talented, and it takes skill to be able to do that, like you said. But I just, I know some of the guys. I wish them well. I like follow their channels. I'll help, shout them out if I know they're streaming. But god damn, man, I just can't watch other people play video games.
That's totally understandable. Like, I think the reason I like doing it is chatting with people. So it's always boring when you don't have a lot of viewers or people that don't talk or anything like that. But it's nice when you do have a lot. Like if we're doing like a partnered stream with like a company that they send their fans to us or something like that, then it's fun because you get to talk about the game. And then this is fun, obviously, because we're doing a podcast and it's live and people are going to see into that a little bit. So that's pretty cool. But yeah,
So-
I'm with you. I don't like just watching people play games. Even when I'm at work, I'd rather just like watch a trailer or something. I wouldn't watch a stream.
Sure. Now we are in the minority though. Now, streaming in general is one thing, but like esports streaming, so huge. I'm on Polygon right now. There's a story they have up about a esports arena that's going to go up in Washington. Now, reading into this, it's an arena that's also going to be used by an actual sports team, but they're wiring this thing up so it'll be fully ready to be to have professional esports events in DC.
Makes sense.
$65 million they're going to put into this
cow.
thing.
So I look at that a little bit different than just watching a normal streamer. Those are events.
Yeah,
that,
it's like-
that
sure,
transcends watching a streamer.
But like sitting
Nothing
there
against like
watching Rob play
Cowley or
Zelda.
anything, but going to an event where there's people doing esports is a little bit different than watching somebody sit around and run
Yeah,
around
well,
with Paladin and WoW. And I could run around in Azeroth with my Paladin. I don't need to watch somebody else do it.
100%. And when you're talking about a game like League of Legends or Dota or all those other games that I don't play or actually watch, like I could see how people could be really into those things. So it's a whole different realm, but it's all kind of tied together too. See, for me though, just watching somebody else play a video game just makes me wish I was playing that video game.
Yeah.
And I can't do this like living vicariously through the streamer thing unless I'm really hard up. And I haven't been that way, thankfully, in quite some time now.
Streams and Let's Plays for me, they serve a good purpose, and that's to like see the game and see if it's something you'd be interested in.
Yeah.
But remarkably, being journalist and stuff like that, I have some insight, and it's that somebody who's streaming. Graculin just said I suck butt in chat. That was awesome. Thanks, Rob. A streamer who, like one streamer with a lot of followers, I can give you a specific example from friends of mine. Angry Joe, his army of people, his millions of followers. If he streams your game and says this is good, you guys should play it. You will the developer, the studio, the publisher, whatever, will see at that time a remarkable like 200% or more sales increase. It's like a direct return of interest. If you were to spend money on a sponsored stream, and that is somebody like, and Angry Joe, by law, he actually has to say this is a sponsored stream, but here's this game, and the sales go up and the sales go crazy. That's so much more effective than traditional advertising, which is why you're
Without a
seeing
doubt.
streamers and YouTubers be such a big deal right now, which it bothers me because media gets picked on, like our site gets picked on all the time, like, oh, you guys are probably paid to say that, or we're never paid to say anything, and if we are with like a sponsored article, it's clearly illustrated that it's a sponsored article and it's never an opinion-based thing. So it's so funny to me that streamers and YouTubers who are literally being paid millions of dollars to fluff up content, they don't get the same backlash that like media does for just trying to be honest.
And
For example,
go ahead.
you know, yesterday we ran a column that I had on Final Fantasy 14.
Mm-hmm.
I based that column, which was pretty negative towards the game and one of their major decisions that they made on their class balancing issues, based upon a conversation I had with the producer at an event they flew me to and paid. So even when they do pay for certain accommodations, it's not like we still don't have dissenting opinions,
Yeah.
you know.
And they
we're
don't
not,
like
we're
they don't
not
hold it
chilling.
against you either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. I mean, you don't want just an echo box, but
I think.
Well, what's
I think
interesting,
we at
too-
MMORPG, we get called out all the time. Like people think we're bought or paid for, but we're so not, and it really annoys me. Like annoys me badly that people think that, and I don't know where it ever came from. Maybe because some of our review scores have been higher, and people don't like that certain game, so they go out in an echo and say this person must have been paid. Like when we had our Star Wars review, people thought Mike Bitten was paid, and I'm like, Mike would wishes he was paid by Star Wars.
That's the thing. We all have day jobs. So, like, if we were actually getting the big review payoffs that everyone thinks we were, we probably
wouldn't have
wouldn't
day
have to
jobs.
work so hard during the day and write our reviews in the evenings the way
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah, are you
Right.
kidding? I write mine at work. I'm like,
Oh, you're lucky that way.
Yeah, well,
You're
yeah,
lucky
I have
that
a desk
way.
job, and I'm like, nobody pay
Probably-
attention to me right now.
probably would not scream that out loud.
Nah, it's okay.
Speaking of watching games, that's why I actually kind of started producing a new little series. It's just called The First 15 Minutes. It's for like every game that I review from here on out. I'm just going to record the first 15 minutes of it and put it up with like just a little 1-minute intro, and then just allow people to watch the rest on their own, because you know that's what I want to see sometimes. I don't want to watch some schlub sit here and explain the game to me. I want to see the first 15 minutes of it. I can pretty well decide whether it looks interesting or not at that point. If it does, I can dig down deeper then maybe and watch somebody stream it or watch some more videos. But if I'm not interested, I can just cut bait and move on and do whatever.
Yep.
I like your rotating logo down there.
Thank you. That's I finally got a new camera that hopefully won't crash my system the way the other one's driver was. Just a newer one, a newer Logitech, and it came with XSplit, so I'm using XSplit, and it does that. And Wabin, one of our viewers on Twitch, actually said, he's like, I think the intimacy of showing your face to the camera removes a lot of dissent and acid, and in a way he's right. I see people get they get knocked on their YouTube videos all the time. And stuff like that, so you're still going to get like backlash and haters, but I think one of the values and one of the reasons that streamers and stuff like that are so trusted is because it's you know it's the face, it's a celebrity thing, it's a cult of
I get that.
personality.
Yeah, I definitely think that you'll drive more interest if you're showing yourself
Yeah.
on the screen. If you're just like
Writers need to
a
be
faceless-
personality too.
Yeah, if you're just a faceless voice on a TV, or if you're a faceless person behind some words on a screen.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a great job of selling the stream. You know, you're gonna have to do this from now on. That's gonna have to be the thing there, Bill.
What's that?
Is streaming the podcast
Yeah.
as we're doing it.
This is actually really awesome to do. Plus, it'll be on YouTube. Then we'll have the whole podcast on YouTube right afterwards.
Yeah, I think this should be a thing.
I think I was gonna try and. Where'd you go, Bill? I keep traveling to you, and you're gone.
I'm out here in Cold Harbor doing stuff.
I don't even see on the map. We must have ended up.
Quit playing your video games on the audio podcast. you
Aren't we
two.
supposed to? Hey, that's what we're live streaming. We need to show them something. I didn't tell Rob to join me. God.
Yeah. Rob's
okay,
just
so
harassing you.
we should probably stay on topic though. What was the topic? What was the point of this?
I'm
Just
just
one
going
plus
to.
missed
We're going to
opportunity.
shift gears here. I want to throw the whole "What are we playing" segment right at you, Bill, because you've been playing the only game I really care about right now, and that's Mass Effect Andromeda.
I have.
So, what are your thoughts on this game so far? Does it live up to the incredible expectation that it's kind of built up by this point.
Well, I think most anybody who's listening to this podcast, and if you follow games, you probably have already seen a lot of like the backlash that people are piling on the facial animations and the fact that Mass Effect Andromeda feels a lot like Dragon Age Inquisition. In fact, I wrote an article. This was not negative or positive. It wasn't negative or positive, but Mass Effect Andromeda is basically Dragon Age Inquisition in space. So I think if you liked Inquisition, you're really gonna like Andromeda. And I think if you're a Mass Effect fan hoping for like the glory days of Mass Effect 2, which is what it's a very popular version of the, it's a very popular sequel. You're not gonna be as happy especially if you didn't like Dragon Age Inquisition, and there are a few of those people out there.
Well, so expand on that though. What do you mean? How is it like Inquisition?
You have these large open worlds, literal worlds, because you're in the galaxy, the Andromeda galaxy, and they're filled with lots of side quests and MMO type quests and stuff like that, plus main storylines. So it's very much a BioWare game, but with lots of MMO isms in a single player game experience. So, you'll be wandering around the world and you're going to be scanning everything with this little arm scanner to sort of collect research data that you can use to do crafting. So you'll always have like this arm scanner hologram thing up while you're doing it. And in Dragon Age Inquisition, you were always pressing a certain button to scan the environment for resources. It was very, very similar. There are forward camps that will drop out of the sky, and those will be like your fast travel points in Dragon Age Inquisition. They were literal camps because it was a medieval game. You have your nomad car in Dragon Age Inquisition. You had your horse. The only thing that's really different about the game is the setting and the fact that it's a third-person cover-based shooter as opposed to like an action RPG. So it very quite literally is Mass Effect or Dragon Age Inquisition in space. That's it.
So that doesn't in particular bother me because I really liked it, but some of what I've heard about it is that the characters, I guess, are a little less endearing. That they throw off a lot of one-liners as you're going around that start to become grating, or so that's certain people's opinion.
That was Dragon Age 2, though. That was the Inquisition. I mean, that was the same thing. Like the party banter is annoying. Yeah, I'll give them that.
So has it gotten on your nerves?
No, not really, because I'm only, let's see, because I'm not the one reviewing it. It's Susie and Catherine Darrow are reviewing it for the two sites. I'm only on Planet Eos right now, and the two characters I've met three. I've four maybe, but I only have two in my party because you haven't been given the option to have the other two. The two characters I met, one's Cora, who's like just a hard-ass chick with biotic capabilities, and then the other one is Liam, who is like a soldier with a British accent, and he is the most stereotypical, like, guns blazing, I'm just gonna kill everything, I'm angry all the time kind of guy, and it's bad. He's real bad. You immediately hate him. Every time he dies in a fight, I'm like, I'm not gonna resurrect you.
And then every time he comes back, you just kind of grumble a little bit, like, damn it,
yeah,
foiled
he's
again.
Bad. And the writing in the very beginning is pretty bad too. I've talked with Susie and Catherine, and they both say it gets much better. But so the first few hours that everybody is seeing on streams and that people are reporting on really is pretty bad. It's like a slow burn, but a lot of BioWare games are that way. They start off pretty slow, and it's stereotypical. You're the chosen one to save humankind, and but that's what you play RPGs for, right? Like, for this grand save the world story. Very rarely does something special come along, like The Witcher, where it's not necessarily the case.
Right, and if there's one thing that I felt about Mass Effect 2 and 3, it's they kind of unfolded as you went. So
Yeah.
Right now there's a limitation on what you can talk about, and I almost feel like that's a disservice because I feel like the further you get, you're going to not only discover more, but probably get more endeared to those characters.
I would think so.
Or,
and I think
discover more layers of them.
Yeah, like, it'll get more complex. Everything about the game will get more complex, and you're not going to see that in the first 10 hours or whatever it is that we have.
Yeah, true.
But
Except the facial
the
animations.
combat is actually very fun, and like character movement went up a notch. That you have like a little jetpack that helps, so you can like you can climb up structures, you can fly around a little bit. It's pretty nice. And
It looks
combat itself
gorgeous,
is
too.
yeah, it's gorgeous. Not only I mean, if you in 4K, it's beautiful, and the cover mechanic, it's like an automatic cover mechanic, and it works really well. So the combat's good.
That's excellent. So, two other things I want to ask you about before we move on. First, open world. How are you feeling about that so far? Because it's Inquisition-y. It is a departure for the Mass Effect franchise from
Yeah.
the way I understood it in previews. What's your take on it?
You know, it actually feels pretty good so far. I've only done the one planet, like I said, and that's also the only one I can talk about anyway. But it's not Zelda, it's not Horizon, it's not The Witcher or anything like that. So it's not like they don't consider themselves an open world game. You know, it's not like a Ubisoft game where suddenly the map is littered with all these like waypoints and for things for you to do. But as you discover things, then you get the quests and stuff like that, just like a typical RPG. There was like one example is I was driving around in my Nomad going towards a quest objective for the main quest when I got sidetracked because I saw a cave that immediately looked interesting. You go inside the cave and there was more background filler story about what happened to the people that were on this planet, and that's the kind of stuff that BioWare's good at. They like leave little threads for you to find, and that's nice. The facial animations are bad. Most of the time they're very bad, but they were bad in Dragon Age Inquisition and nobody seemed to care. I think you know, there's hype leading up to this game, which is causing people to get angry about it and pile on it. And once one person in the media decides to like harp on something, and in this case it was that Rock Paper Shotgun article, then everybody feels safe to pile on it too, or they're reminded that yeah, they're right, so let's pile on it. Let's make an article about how this is bad, and here's the day one patch. Let's talk about how the day one patch doesn't fix the facial animations like it matters.
Well, hold on. That does matter because they called it a bug, and it wasn't a bug. They just lied about what the problem was, or it was a bug that nobody saw.
Well, I'm sure if the walking animation was the more important one to me. I think the facial animation one, like, it's bad. It's bad in most games. I can think of a few games like Uncharted and well, even The Witcher. It's sometimes awkward. It was really bad in the Fallout games, but facial animations aren't like a game-breaking bug to me, like, or a game-breaking thing if it's bad. You know what I mean?
Sure, and you know, I think quite honestly, a lot of people would not have noticed the degree that they will now if it wasn't being pushed out there so much by the press.
Yeah.
I mean, like when I look at it, the first.
When the press sort of directs a topic, especially like the larger media outlets.
Right, because the first time I saw the videos of it, I didn't think anything of it really.
Yeah.
It just kind of was what it was. And since then, I've seen comparison videos to Mass Effect 2, and it does look like a downgrade in these videos, but it's also really hard to get a good impression of the scope of that type of thing
It's
when you
completely
have a game
different.
with a scope so large.
Yeah, well, and in Mass Effect Andromeda, there's like 12,000 speaking parts or speaking characters. Like, it's probably just in general, it's harder. Bethesda had the same, or I should say ZeniMax had the same thing with Elder Scrolls Online. When the game launched, its facial animations were so robotic, character animations in general, and it took them a year to fix it and get it changed. So I don't think it's something that people should worry about because it's not. It shouldn't ruin your enjoyment of the gameplay. I just don't
Sure.
think it will.
Which leads me to the last thing I want to know, because I read an article that it seemed a bit suspect. I won't name the website because it's fairly large, but they were talking about the system requirements of the game and how the game doesn't seem to run very well, but that BioWare seems to be targeting 30 frames a second for their recommended requirements. And they have some pretty beefy recommended requirements. They're looking for a 1060 with the processor, I guess, isn't that new, a 4790 i7, but that's a pretty powerful rig when you actually look at it.
I mean, that's more recent middle ground rig. Like, most people don't have a 1000 series card right now.
Yes, but when they say they're targeting 30 frames a second, as we know in the PC world, usually the gold standard is minimum of 60, and that's becoming so in the console world too. So how does it actually run?
Honestly, I'm probably not the best person to ask. On my PC, I can run in 4K at 60 frames a second, like with vertical sync off. It goes up higher than that, as long as I'm not in windowed mode or something, because I have two Titan X's in here.
So you have a transformer.
Yeah, I have I have a really big beef. But now on my laptop, which is a 960M, that's very, very not powerful. I can run it on medium at 45 frames per second, so it doesn't run badly at all.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think the target 30 frames per second is just like to set expectations, especially because consoles are probably going to run at 30 frames a second, but it's over 30 frames a second. I don't know.
Well, that's reassuring.
It's computers. It's gonna vary for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, well, let's get out of RPGs. Let's talk about MMOs. The first thing I want to throw out. Yeah. Is Rob still there? Rob, are you live?
Yeah, I said something.
Yeah, he's
said
mumbling.
Oh, okay.
No, I said something.
What'd you say?
I'm sorry. I feel like we railroaded you.
I don't really care.
He was playing something else. Playing
Yeah.
Zelda.
I'm playing Zelda.
Well, I'll give you the chance to respond on the first one. All right, so Trove. Trove made its way to consoles. It was in beta. It has officially launched now. Have you guys had a chance to play it?
No.
Rob, how about you?
Yes.
Oh,
So
nice.
what are your thoughts? Because I've spent a little time, but not much to really render, I guess, a formal opinion on it.
Not a fan.
No?
I've never
So-
been a fan of Trove.
So you're not a fan of
Alright.
the console version either. Have you
I'd-
played the console version?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd rather play Cube World.
Oh yeah, you liked Cube World a lot.
Yeah, I'd rather play that. There's nothing. I see the charm in Trove, but like at the same time, I played Dragon Quest Builders, and I like that more.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about Trove that I just don't really. Something about it I just don't enjoy. And I don't know that the game necessarily did anything wrong. It's just one of those that's just not for me.
It's very hyper. Trove is.
And that could be part of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
It's
As I've looked at it, it seems like on paper, it seems like a game I should really like, but it's one of those ones that's just been backburnered and backburnered and backburnered to the point where anytime I have the opportunity, now there's like a dozen other games that it's competing with, so I've just never gotten around to it. And I don't know that now is the time, but I have to wonder how the game is doing just in general. Because
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not the only one. Nobody really talks about Trove anymore, even though the people that do seem to like it.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
I have so many other games to play. Elder Scrolls Online. Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's start. Just here's the problem too with MMOs anymore. These giant AAA open world RPGs that are coming out these days that are so amazing that you can spend hundreds of hours in. Those are directly competing with MMOs.
Yeah.
And they're taking that audience. Because a lot of people find themselves playing single player and MMOs anyways.
I'm doing it
so
right now.
why bother with the MMO spot and just do it on these? And you have your system. So yeah, like you're playing single player in an MMO. You could be playing single player in an RPG right now, sitting in Skype talking to us.
Yeah.
And that would fulfill your need to socialize.
Yep.
So and that's what's happening. So for me, these, and especially this month, we had The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn. Mass Effect for me is like an afterthought. It's like, what?
Well, and like Mass Effect is really pulling me in. Like I want to play it more, but it's there's still more games. Like I still haven't finished Final Fantasy 15. Like, and what's
And the
other one?
DLC's coming out at the end of the month.
Yeah, and Sniper Elite is fantastic, and I haven't finished that. Like, there's a lot of games that aren't just RPGs. There's just a lot of really good games right now, and they're not MMOs. It's sad.
Yeah. So, anyways, but going back to MMOs with Trove, I know it's doing well. I believe so.
It had like 3 million testers on console, which is pretty darn good for a game that doesn't have a lot
So-
of fanfare.
Exactly. So great for them. I'm glad they're doing well. It's just one of those things that just didn't resonate with me, and it's not necessarily because they did anything wrong. I remember when we were talking to Scott about it, when they first were, when it was like a 2-person little project that was being worked on in Tryon.
It was based
they were
on
gonna have,
Cube
like-
World. It was based on
Yeah,
Cube World because the guys liked it, and they're like, well, nobody's developing it. Let's make our own.
They were gonna have like, beatable worlds, which they got away from that.
Yeah.
But at one point they're thinking we'll have worlds that you can beat, and you basically could like show that off, I guess, like in a bag or something you could collect.
Yeah.
they realized, well, maybe that's not the best idea, and they changed it, and that's cool. But
They have beatable worlds now, but it's just like every world's like randomly generated when you walk through a portal, and you can join other people or not. Yeah, I mean, it's a very fun game, but it doesn't stick for me because it's so like crazy and hyper and, you know, neon and through the roof. You know what I mean? It's just like a very over the top game, and that's just not a style that I appreciate really.
I feel like in the console space, it may struggle to compete just because it is so colorful. It strikes me as more childish, child directed,
Yeah.
because of that color palette. So in the advertising and everything, it's kind of seems like it's a little kids game, even though it's not. I mean, it can be, but it's not just for little kids. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I am surprised to hear they had 3 million testers, though. That is far, far more than I anticipated they would
Yeah,
have.
there will be people that will play it, love it, spend money on it to get dragons and all the other like cosmetic stuff you can do, and all the classes, because there's lots of different classes in the game. I mean, it really is a full MMORPG. It's just a very silly one, so it's like it's just not something that I find myself wanting to play.
yeah, I don't disagree that it's a full-on MMO, and I think it's definitely something that is very well suited on consoles. I just, again, you know, and I like console MMOs. I played the hell out of Neverwinter for about 2 months
Yeah,
last year when they ported it over to PS4. I played ESO on the PS4 a little bit, so it's not that I have a prejudice against MMOs on the console. It's just I tried that one and it did not.
yeah,
It just
it didn't stick for you.
No.
Well, and
Yeah.
there's a lot more coming too. I mean, Skyforge is going to be on there, and arguably Skyforge, from the very beginning, should have been on the console.
Yes,
Like it's a perfect console MMO.
I agree that would be is a real good fit.
Yeah, like like the content and everything being so instanced and, you know, soloable and all this other stuff. Like the control scheme, the combat, everything will fit really well. I think we'll see more and more games that are like, I know everybody knows Cryptic is making something. Either, you know, they're making a new MMO. They're not just going to sit on their laurels forever. And I guarantee it'll probably launch on console instead of just, you know, PC first.
Well, and that's an interesting thing, because another story we had is that Terra is going to be coming out on consoles this year. They've kind of confirmed that. It's going to be free to play, reworked controls, the whole 9 yards. And I was just thinking, it was not too long ago, it was the last console generation, where the idea of console MMOs was something a lot of people were talking about and were excited about. And now we're here. Like, this is the time.
Yeah.
It seems like
Destiny
over and
too,
over
man.
again, these games are
Destiny.
being moved over.
Yeah, the
Destiny, Terra, Division, Neverwinter, all these
Yeah.
games are coming over. And part of it's because it's easier to port for, but it's interesting that this is happening now where there's not so many big AAA games coming out on PC. MMORPGs in general, I think, are not quite as bright of a star as they were 5 years ago anymore. So I guess I'm wondering if it's still as exciting to have them coming to console. I know for me it is, but I mean, how about for you guys?
No, not for me. I'm a PC gamer though at heart. Like that's just where I like to play games. Even like the Switch is competing for that right now because the Switch is so damn portable and you can play such high quality games on it. But I like to play on my PC when it comes to pretty much anything else. I just like the versatility of it. But I know Rob loves his console.
I do love my consoles. I love playing games on the PS4. It's so convenient. And I'll be honest with you, the more I play on the Switch, the more I enjoy that as well. And I'm starting to think that that's really a great console.
Yeah, me too.
And you know what I was thinking about today is I really think that's going to be an iterative console. I think, you know, 2 years from now we're going to have another Switch.
An upgraded
It's going to
one.
be it's going to be like phones.
Yeah, and that'd be very.
No, you know what they're
smart
gonna
of them.
do? They're gonna color code the buttons on there like they did with the new 3DS to remind people of Super Nintendo, and then they're gonna sell a million new versions of the Switch because of the colored buttons.
Oh,
That's Nintendo's MO, because everyone's like, oh my god, it's like Super Nintendo, I must have one.
It's the family.
Well,
And
all
I
they'll
felt
have to-
that pull. I felt
All they're going to have to do is release those Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
I said something like that
in our chat.
in our chat earlier. I said something about that a couple months ago. I saw these green Joy-Cons and this green docking station for Zelda, and it's like, oh my god, they could have charged $100 more for that, and people would have paid it.
Yeah.
They called it a special edition, and in fact, they probably still could
Yep.
and still will. But we got blue and red, we've got gray. There's no way they're not going to sell color ones, because they did for the Wii and the Wii U. So we're going to get more accessories. We're just not getting them now, which I'm kind of surprised we're not getting them now.
Yeah.
But colored Joy-Cons they're coming. I mean,
I believe
they're
you're
coming,
right.
and hell's coming with them, because the prices on them are going to be ridiculous.
Well, man, those Joy-Cons. Speaking of, they need to sort that problem out with their little antennas down there and do something for the people that already have screwed up ones, like you and I, Rob.
Yeah, and they need to fix the shit-ass radio they have for their Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not kidding. You put in our chat to test it. It's like 7 feet away, and it gets down to one little Wi-Fi bar
That's
thingy in
ridiculous.
the deal.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's worse than the PlayStation Vita, and I didn't think that was possible, gentlemen, and they did it. However, on the plus side, I haven't had the Joy-Con issue, and I'm surprised because it seemed like everybody was getting that. I had it desync one time only, has not done it since. So I feel like I'm fairly lucky in that regard.
That is pretty good, actually. I don't think Ben's had problems with his either. Ben is our chief technical officer on the website. He bought a Switch, I think, a couple days after we did, and he was worried because Rob and I were talking about how bad the Joy-Con connectivity was. But thank God I got a Pro Controller off of Amazon, because that thing is awesome. It's
Pro Controller's
overpriced,
great.
but God is
It's
good.
it's well sized.
Yeah.
It feels good. It's overpriced,
Yeah.
like almost everything else Nintendo makes. But as far as the controller goes, it's a really solid controller, and it makes Zelda playable, because without it,
The Joy-Con. Yeah, I mean, if you're playing in tablet mode, the Joy-Cons work fine. So yeah.
You know what, though? I'll add this before going to the next topic. As far as the controls go, I did not get a Pro Controller just because it was overpriced. I don't like having them in the controller dock. To me, that feels awkward with how square it is.
Yeah.
It plays remarkably well just having the Joy-Cons in each hand. Way better than I actually thought it would. Yeah, there's something about just being able to, like, you just kind of rest your hands casually, and I don't know, it plays very, very good, though. I'm sure not as good as a Pro Controller, but much better than I had thought it would.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's worth trying.
Wabin on our chat, he actually said that most people that have a consumer grade router, they're crap. He's like, it might not just be the Switch, it might just be like the routers. If you had like a really powerful router, you might be better off.
well, here's the deal. You shouldn't have to buy a new router, because I
No,
don't have the problem with any of my 3DSs.
Yeah.
I don't have the problem with any of my tablets. I don't have the problem with any of my laptops. It doesn't change the fact that Nintendo has substandard equipment
Yeah.
in the Switch when it comes to that radio. I mean, I get what you're saying, that there are workarounds. Totally understand that.
But you shouldn't have to.
But we shouldn't. Yeah. You just spend
RantonRob.com.
$300. You shouldn't have to start spending money on workarounds.
www.rantonrob.com.
Yeah, www.rantonrob.com. Not joking, real website. Go check it out. I'm there all the
Rob's
time.
personal blog.
You know what you gotta do? If you do a video about that, Rob, you gotta get the little snap sound effect. So every time you make a point, it's a little snap afterwards.
And then they put a cease and desist order on you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This
that's
is
the
more.
problem.
This is more ranty than I actually get on my channel. Because
I like ranty
normally my
Rob.
videos, I'm pretty calm. I'm just like talking, like, yeah.
Hey everybody, this is Rob.
Hey, Bobby, this is Rob. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.
All right, so EverQuest just turned 18 years old. That officially
crap.
makes it ancient in the
Yeah.
video game world, and it's still going. So if you log in now until the end of the month, you get a free heroic character, but you can also take part in a progression server sometime soon. It's Agnar with an exclamation point. I love it when they do that. It's just like yelling a name of something. But apparently that's going to keep going and release expansions up to the Lost Dungeons of Norath.
Wow.
And I got to be honest, I really don't know what that means. Because when that game came out, I was so deep in the mud I was in, I was actually a little resentful of EverQuest because it started to suck players away. And I really wanted to play it and I couldn't, so therefore I got mad at it. That was my answer as a 14-year-old or whatever I was.
I didn't really catch EverQuest. I caught more like Asheron's Call, and even then I couldn't play that much when I was younger because we didn't have good internet. It wasn't until Asheron's Call 2 and the WoW beta and EverQuest 2 beta that I really started to get sucked into MMOs outside of like Ultima Online at my friend's house. So I completely missed EverQuest. You can't talk to me about it. Rob?
My problem with EverQuest when it first came out is I was living in England at the time, and we didn't. It was all 56K, and we weren't doing anything with ISDN lines or anything, so you couldn't really play that. You couldn't really play them.
Yeah.
It sucked a little butt, but you know, it is what it is. And I'm gonna choke my dogs out here in a few minutes.
So when EverQuest came out, true story, we had a group from the mud I used to play actually try to start a roleplay religion on there. That they were very successful with this in the mud that they had. They were called the Black Conclave of Nashite. And I believe if you still go to nashite.org, they have like whole scripts of like fake religious texts. So it was basically like video game Satanism, honest to God, where this one guy, he was like the guilds back then were called followings, and he would play a deity, right? Yeah. So he would pretend to be like this evil overlord god. And when EverQuest came out, they used to share all these screenshots of them like bowing before this guy in big circles and going into the towns and just shouting, "Praise Lord Nash! Lord Nash rules all." It was the craziest thing, but these guys were hardcore into it. And I desperately wanted to be a part of it. That was the in crowd at the mud I used to play. I would have been shouting about Nash all day long.
Cult. Good for you. That's funny.
I aspired high as a teenager.
And you're like you're a big time Christian. So what does your church think of that?
My church does not know anything about the
I'm
Black
writing a
Conclave.
letter to your pastor.
Well, you know what? I was not cool enough to join the cult, so
bummer.
I guess I touched a bullet there.
You basically sound like every '90s after school special I've ever seen.
That's
Trying
pretty
to get
much
him in
it.
trouble, aren't you?
All right, so I don't know. Let's skip Rend just for the sake of time. But Warhammer Eternal Crusade is going free to play. Not sure personally. Like, I mean, that's great for them, but personally, was not super interested based on how that game was received.
It was rushed out the door. It just was.
Yeah.
And it's sad because the thing that we first got told it was going to be, it was like a snake oil salesman kind of thing. Like, this is what it's going to be, and then they realized that they did not have the money to do it, and they switched game directors, and Nathan Richardson, from CCP, from Tryon, brought in and said, "Hey, try to salvage this," and he admirably did so. But even then, the publisher that they had, Namco Bandai, said, "Get this out the door," and they launched it, and it was not ready, as Rob can attest since he did the review.
Yeah,
Now,
I wonder what would have happened if they managed to have Square Enix be their publisher.
Yeah, if they had the money, the real money to back it up, and like the time.
Yeah.
to me, this strikes
it's
me
not
as
it's not
like super.
it's not bad now, but it's not.
Oh no,
it's
it
a
is.
No, have you played it recently?
It is.
I don't know. I played it recently. It's actually not bad now, but it's not. It's still not what it should have been, which is like this big open world PlanetSide 2 kind of thing. It's still match based.
Yeah.
But again, it runs okay on my system, and I've seen plenty of people say it runs like shit on theirs. I'm at an advantage when it comes to my system, so.
See, there's different kinds of free to play that are out there. There's free to play that's, it seems like a good thing, like a positive, like they're trying to expand their player base in kind of a happy way. And then there's free to play that's kind of like the oxygen tank at the end. This is the kind of move that strikes me as like the oxygen tank kind of move.
Yeah,
I mean, and you see it with other games where they're just like, we tried it one way and we really need to try to make some money back right now, which sounds really negative. And I hate to be negative, but it's just, I mean, we see these news stories all the time of games switching at the last minute just to really try to scrape together something to keep themselves afloat.
I don't think they spent a lot of money in general on this. Considering that they rushed it out the door, I can't imagine they spent any more than 10 million tops, which sounds like a lot, but it's really not for like a AAA game. So I don't know if it's that so much as, or if it's like we need free to play because we need people to play with, like, you need bodies, and free to play was one way to continue to get bodies, especially on Steam. And because if you don't have bodies, the hardcore fans that are spending money are never going to spend money because they don't want to play it anymore because the game's empty. Think WildStar, you know what I mean? It's like the same situation.
Yeah. Now, in certain games, though, they can pull that off. I mean, WildStar, with how it was received in the subscription form, I wouldn't have expected it to still be up and running today, but they seem to be doing okay right now. I mean,
They're hanging in
it has fans. Yeah, they have their issues, things that are like lingering and stuff. But yeah, look, you put it right. They're hanging in there, which, I mean, for people who love that game, I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, you could say the same thing about Lotro right now, and I love that. I would love to see Lotro hang in there forever if it keeps its slow content.
See, Broadsword Entertainment, that's like a brilliant thing there with Ultima Online and Dark Age of Camelot. It's the same thing. You run a low overhead studio and you put out as much content as you can based on that for your hardcore fans that will stick around until the dying days, and I think Lotro has those kind of people.
Yeah, for sure.
Little humble brag, I actually have the world first kill of their first raid boss in Lord of the Rings Online.
No kidding.
It was, the dragon. I was the off tank.
That's awesome.
We were in a clan called Conviction, and it wasn't very hard, so it doesn't really seem like that much of an accomplishment.
But
I do have the world first.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, Thorog was his name. It was the first end raid boss that they had. It was us and another kinship, pretty well racing head to head to do it, and we got it done.
That's awesome.
That's really
I will
cool.
never have that distinction.
I think I had the world's worst pull in Zul'Gurub, and wow, does that count?
Yeah.
I was, a huntard, so.
I can't tell you how many times I died in Molten Core being the hunter that was pulling from my raid.
Yeah. Oh Lord. It's tough.
Yeah.
The bad boss, man.
Especially when Feign Death didn't work half the time. It's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I thank God they don't rely on that skill anymore.
Or the that's because before you had misdirect, and then the warrior would just stand on you, and it's like, if you stand on me and fight it on me, I'm gonna die from the thing called AOE that it's gonna do. So
yeah,
please
get away. Please get away.
Okay, I'm dead now.
I always got blamed. For like being the first one to shoot before you were supposed to, and I'm like,
it's on you.
I'm like, look at the battle log. You can see who did damage first. And they're like, no, we heard your bullet. I'm like, no, seriously, look at the battle log. Oh well, I don't play that game anymore. Like I play WoW, but I don't play that raid game anymore. So
I use statistics when you can just do anecdotal evidence that means nothing.
That I heard it's a server-based game. You hear things all the time.
This is interesting, you guys.
Sorry.
I'm no, it's okay, because you guys were talking about all this stuff, and I thought to myself, I want to see if I can find that cult's website, and I found it. It's still up there, Nashite.org. They have the Bible of Lord Nash, taking over the universe, the Nashite High Mass.
What?
Right? Oh my! This is something we have to explore at some point.
Yeah, you should really write an article about this. I'm not kidding, Chris.
I'll think about it. I'll see if I can find some stuff on here.
Yeah.
This I had forgot. It's bringing back all these memories. There's the Nash poem that talks about. Here's a line: "Upon our heads he does pee. Die dirt, die scum. These are the magic words he does hum."
Oh my God. That sounds really spiritual.
It was. It was. Can you all picture them in a big circle?
Yeah,
Just doing that, like hum.
Yeah, I can picture them in a big giant circle, and that's as far as I'm going with that.
We just got rated R.
All right.
If you want to see some high quality Legend of Zelda gameplay, by the way, you can always check out
Rob. Go
my
ahead.
stream.
Go ahead. Get it done.
But I'm on Twitch right now streaming.
Oh, there you go. But
I got my Switch going on Twitch. I got my Switch on Twitch.
If you switch over, you'll still be able to hear the podcast.
You can hear me fine.
You don't have to watch.
It's rant_on_Rob.
So here's what we're going to do, because you're talking Switch, which ties to Zelda, and somebody wrote a review of Zelda that got DDoS'd because he did not score it perfectly. So, with that said, let's talk about review scores. We had a little chat in our...
Subjective.
They are subjective in our website chat, kind of debating their merit a little bit. So, numbered review scores.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on them? Are they good or are they bad?
Hate them. All right, let me I'll do it real quick, and then I'll let Rob, because I know he's got a rant on this. For me, as we said in chat, I think they're great as aggregated. When you have a bunch of scores together and you can sort of see what the average is or where like websites fall, it like helps you get a picture like of an opinion. But for me, I much rather would read a review or watch a video of a video review than I would care about reading a score. We have the scores on both of our websites because you need them, because for traffic purposes and clout, you want to be on those aggregate sources. But I hate doing them. I hate them. I hate it with a passion, because everybody has their own opinion about what everything should be scored. When I just want to tell you, here's the game, here's what's good, here's what's bad, and I think you should play it, or I don't think you need to play it. That kind of thing. That's it.
Okay, Rob.
So, Bill reviewed Zelda for GameSpace, and since I didn't have to do it, I reviewed it for my own blog, and it's the first time I've ever given a game a 10. I'm not a fan of numbered reviews. I think that you should read a review and be able to base an opinion on that, but a lot of times people just kind of distill it down to the score you give.
Yeah.
And a number in of itself is meaningless, because for some people a 10 doesn't exist, because a 10 in their mind has to be perfect, and I don't necessarily agree that a 10 is a perfect game. It's just, for me, it's a transcendent game. And
Good word.
I think that that's what this is. I think that it fits that mold. So, so for me, that's a 10. Now, for somebody else, that could be a 9. And they could have valid reasons why they think it's so. I don't begrudge the game, the technical problems the Switch has when it's docked. Like, there's noticeable frame drops in certain areas. The game looks great, but for whatever reason, you'll do something and you'll get some frame loss. Some people are like, well, you got to take off points for that. For me, that's the hardware. That's not the game. But so again, that's something that's purely subjective. And I think a lot of that gets accounted for in the aggregate. So when you have like Metacritic and OpenCritic, you that stuff will kind of hash itself out. And Bill and myself, and I'm sure that you're probably also on Metacritic, Chris. And if people are interested, they could. On OpenCritic.
Yeah.
And if you're ever interested, you can go to OpenCritic and look at people that you trust.
Yeah.
See how they score games, and you'll notice that Bill generally scores games on average 3 points higher than everybody else, whereas I score games on average, 3/4 of a point lower than everybody else. So, to the Metacritic, and I actually do a pretty good job on the side pegging like what games are probably going to get on Metacritic. Like I'll pretty well say I think it's going to get this, even though to me it's this. I can make that separation, which I think is kind of difficult for some people that aren't in the business of reviewing things and giving them a numerical value, where they're like, I think it's this and everybody else is fucking wrong. So
or like the people that go on Steam or Metacritic and give it a 1 or a 10 just to boost the score.
Right. See, my issue with numbered scores is not in the fact that they're given a number. It's that the average reader does not seem to be able to interpret the subjective quality of that. So they'll go to a site like IGN, and then they'll come back to a site like ours, and then they'll go to GameSpot or Polygon or wherever, and they start to attack critics for having those different opinions, because it's that shorthand of, we'll go to the end of the article, we'll summarize everything into that piece like you were mentioning, and then we'll agree or disagree based on that. That said, I kind of find it a valid shorthand. I'll admit there's many times where if I'm short on time, I will just scroll and I'll see what the score was to get a general idea of, is this good or bad. Now I'll go back and I'll read the article and get the information and the context of all of that. But if we were to just abandon numbered scores entirely, we would be losing a useful metric that's just kind of fast and easy to access on the go. You know what I mean? So I would hate to see them actually disappear, if for nothing else than the fact that it's just an easy way to see, were they successful, were they not, in this person's opinion.
I think it actually comes full circle back to like the streamers and YouTubers, the ones that I find most value in, even though we were just talking about a particular reviewer who gave something a 7 and got dive bombed, and then there are other reviewers on YouTube that sometimes they I don't know, maybe their ego just gets ahead of them, but it reminds me, and Wobbin just said it in Twitch chat, it reminds me of movie reviewers. You kind of find reviewers who you trust and whose taste you sort of find similar to your own, and you follow them. In games media, that's hard because there are just so many reviewers out there, but I like to think that at MMORPG.com we actually have like a staple of reviewers, and people know Rob, they know Chris, they know me, they know Susie, they know the games we like, and they know how we score things. They know what our scoring what our score means. Like we grade games the same way that a teacher would grade papers. Like a 7 is a C, an 8 is a B, a 9 is an A, that kind of thing. I hope that they can then get an informed opinion about what we think as a website of a game, or as reviewers of a game. But I think that's where YouTubers and Twitchers and like us, the written media, need to kind of meet together. Is each of us is a personality, and each of us can kind of get our own following, and that's the way it should be.
Well,
We're
sure.
an influencer.
An influencer, yeah, that's the word they like to use, the buzzword.
And we need to be fearless to not score a game down. I mean, one of the criticisms of numbered review scores is that nothing ever scores below a 5. Now, of course they do, but most games don't.
I've done
Most
it.
games don't, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
done it too. There was been several games, like before I was reviewing for Hook Gamers, there was an adventure game that was about global warming, and it was just so incredible. It was just awful.
Yeah.
Awful. So I scored it low, and that's one of the things you
Again,
do.
though, I think some games, like most games, aren't below a 5. Like a 5 to me is bad. I would typically not buy anything below a 7, like unless I knew for sure that it was something that I would like because of the IP, like even a 6 is like, oh, that's low. I wouldn't buy that. I wouldn't spend money on that. I might get it free.
See, but then the opposite side of that argument, though, is that you might then be robbing yourself of another experience that you may have liked just because somebody else said, oh, this is a 6.5 instead of a 7.
But if everybody was saying, like, it's a 6.5 or something like that, I'd be like, well, that's a very mediocre game to me. I'm not going to spend my money on that unless it's on sale.
And realistically, we can't just buy every game that's out there, especially now when there's 1,000,001 indie games coming out every year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, hey, throwing it back to Nintendo, when you're thinking indies, just think Nindies, because gosh darn, they got like a fleet of those things headed their way.
Yes, they do.
All right.
I just think they
Dustin?
should
Give me
start
codes.
to sell boxers and call them Nindies. It's just too
Nundies.
close to the word undies for me.
Nundies.
Yeah.
Nundies, you got it.
Undies.
Yeah.
Nintendo undies.
Yeah, with like,
Nundies.
it's me.
I think I've seen those at Walmart. All it takes is a little rebranding, right? They already have the big Mario on
I
the
was gonna say
butt.
they're at Target.
right?
I'm pretty sure they have like mushroom underwear and stuff like that.
The first thing I think my son's got some Pikachu boxers.
Can I just tell you something? My son, he's 3 years old. He knows who Pikachu is. He knew now we've watched Pokemon since then. He knew who Pikachu was before I ever introduced him to him, and I'm mad at whoever did that, by the way. That was my thing for my boy. They stole Pokemon from him.
That's why as soon as my son was born, I'm like, here's R2-D2.
Yeah, just give him the walk through it. They're like, I really just want to be eating right now. But okay, Dad. Bonding time. I still have my daughter. She's too little. She can still be ushered in. Yeah. So back to the review score thing, though. The thing that I guess drives me a little crazy with review scores is when we get into the 100-point scale. So where a game could be a 71 versus a 73, for example. Now on our site, we used to, and maybe we still do, is that I know recently we really haven't been doing the subsections.
Yeah.
Of like graphics, polish, longevity, that kind of thing.
They got overdone, I think.
Yes, I agree. And other sites wouldn't have those. So like we would use that to render an average, which I think is fair because you can see where we're getting that from. But where other sites would just give you an experiential review, so like not broken into those different sections, and then they'd say, oh, this is a 71. Just like, well, why not a 75? And it's so hard to figure out like where they actually got that from, where, I'm a proponent of the experiential review because I feel like that is a better form of criticism than the old-fashioned way of graphics, sound, like
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But
Well,
I
don't
kind of
think
feel like
reviews-
the
I don't think
100 point has to
reviews-
go.
I don't think a review's job is to come in and explain to you exactly every feature of a game and like, here's what this does and here's what that does. A review should be the the sort of experience of the reviewer and how it made them feel and what they found was good and bad, and then sum it up in a score that means something. Whether it's a 98 or a 90 or a 72 or a 75, I think you get the big picture from that score, even if they're a weird point system. Do you know what I mean? Like, you still get what a 72 is or a 75. They're same thing.
But do you though?
I think
Because
so. It's arbitrary. It's just an arbitrary number that they are forced to do by the person above them.
Yes, and that's the thing, is if you're going to go with a 20-point scale, if it really is 100-point scale, if it really is arbitrary, you could go for something closer to the American grading system, which is in 5s and 0s, right? So like when I score a student, like they could see where they're going to get a 77 from. But like we don't have that in
No,
reviews.
no.
So it's a tricky thing, and when you hear people talk about the rationale behind it, I've yet to hear a rationale that doesn't have merit, which is the thing, and that's why this is it's all debatable on what's the best way to go. But the underlying message here is to read the article, right? Because if you
Yes.
read it, then the number really doesn't mean a whole lot, because then you have the whole story of what the person felt and what it was like for them actually playing that game.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is most people they can't be arsed to read something, which is just silly.
Blows my mind. People
Yeah.
that come in
To a
and
website
base
that's all about words, but they're not there
Yeah.
to read it. As Wobbin was saying in chat, he's like, I'm not really here for the reviews. I'm here for the news. And then you get like the chatter and the forums, So yeah,
And then the people that don't read the review, don't read the article, just read the comments, which get off track, and then make like wild retorts to those comments, assuming that you said something that you never did. And if they would have read the piece to begin with, they would have seen that you never said that.
yeah.
And you got people like attacking your character, or thinking that you're like, just rebuking what you're saying. And it's like, I never said that.
or you could go the other way with that, like the step beyond that, where you like write a whole paragraph that's the exact opposite of what they're saying you said. It's like, dude, like word for word. Oh, that drives me crazy. It's like you just
Like-
drives me crazy.
Well, my Zelda review at
problems.
GameSpace, I actually really liked it, because I forced myself to stay under 1,000 words when I could have written pages on every little detail of that game. But I wanted to make it like, I just wanted to focus on the core points that to me made sense to cover in the review. And there are plenty of other things I could have done, because I didn't want it to drag on. I just want you to get an idea of where I came from with the score and why it wasn't a perfect score. It was high. I mean, it was an arbitrary number of 90, 98, 9.8 out of 10, with points off for like 2 things that I didn't like and 2 minor things. But
and again, those are things that are debatable. Like durability was one of the things that you didn't like.
yeah, I
and
just
I
didn't
personally,
like.
it's part of the game. It's something that they designed and that they implemented because they wanted it. And I don't think it should be negatively scored against. But I don't think you're a terrible human being because you decided that.
Well, and that's what a
you know,
review
you
is,
wanted to
though. Like, if you don't like a
take off
design,
points for that.
if you don't like a design choice, that's the point.
Yeah.
Your review should reflect that you don't like it and why you think it's bad, and you should hold it up to that. To me,
How dare
to
you
me,
have an opinion, Bill?
Yeah, to me, a video game review should be sort of explaining your experience with the game, what you thought was good, what you thought was bad, why, and then where you ultimately come out on the end. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a fact. None of it's a fact. It's all literally your experience and your thought. Like, like the Jimquisition, like, as much as sometimes that guy grinds on me, he has valid points. The Rock Paper Shotgun article on Mass Effect Andromeda has valid points. There's nothing wrong with people bringing down a game, that everybody else loves, because people have opinions. That's just it. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of a review. I don't know.
So with that, we'll just end it with the idea of everyone just read the review, and then comment after you're done. But Metacritic, I have to add one more thing. Metacritic, right? Metacritic is a good thing, I think. There's a lot of debate on that. And I'm just curious
I like
where you guys
OpenCritic
stand on
better.
Metacritic.
I do like OpenCritic better because they pull in reviews that aren't scored and stuff. They pull in reviewers and like you can read about the reviewer. Wabin was just saying in chat, he's like, it'd be nice to know about the reviewers, and that's you can do that on OpenCritic. Each writer that's on there, that's featured on there, will has like their own profile that can be edited, and you can tweak it like with your favorite games and stuff like that, so you know where the reviewer's coming from. I think that's great. That's what we need more of.
Yeah, I totally agree. How about you, Rob? What's your take on it?
On actual scored reviews.
No. On like aggregate sites like OpenCritic, Metacritic.
I think they serve a purpose. I think some people get pissed off at them about the way that they've been implemented by the industry, almost like a performance review system. But I mean, sometimes you gotta get a number somehow, and that's
it directly
like one of the
correlates
most
to sales for sure.
Yeah, and that's one of the most fair ways that they've kind of devised to do it, by having like these score aggregators. Can they be manipulated? Maybe, but if you get enough scores aggregated into it, which is what OpenCritic kind of tries to do, have more than just the handful that get to be on Metacritic. And I say that, and we're on Metacritic, so it's not like I'm throwing stones at Metacritic because we're not on there. We are one of the
I had to
scores
fight tooth and nail to get us on there because we are a genre site. They didn't think we belonged on there.
Yeah.
But
so we're on there and saying, hey, it could be better, and that there's a viable alternative out there, and OpenCritic is one of those. So
yeah, and Matthew Ento, the guy that started OpenCritic, he came to me. He's like, you guys are awesome. He's like, I want you on there. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Somebody actually likes us.
Yeah. That's nice. He earned some points.
Yeah.
For sure. That. All right, guys. So I think that about wraps us. We're about at time. So why don't we just share where we'd like people to put their eyes on our respective work. Bill, why don't you go first?
I was gonna say we'll let Rob finish off. I want everybody to, of course, come to MMORPG.com, turn off your ad blockers because that's always nice. But more than anything, we just started GameSpace.com, which we're trying to make a really good go of. It is every game site. All the games that are not MMOs that we cover on MMORPG are going to slowly move off, and we're going to go back to just the core MMOs and almost MMOs on MMORPG.com, and then all the other RPGs and stuff like that, with the exception of Chris's RPG column, are going to go to GameSpace.
Had me worried there for a minute.
No, don't worry. GameSpace is still so new too. Maybe if GameSpace becomes like this big thing, then we'll just be like, dude, just bring it over here because more eyes. But yeah, GameSpace is basically right now it's fully driven by us, the writing staff. It's completely volunteer. There are barely any ads and stuff like that. It's not really earning a penny. And the goal very soon is to have user-generated content that is featured on the front page and everything like that, and prizes and contests, and a real reason. So it's like a community-driven site, kind of like a hybrid between Giant Bomb and Polygon. So it's more readable, less about the wiki, more about users sharing their content, their videos, and their news and their opinions. And yeah, so go to GameSpace.com.
Awesome. Yeah, I could definitely second that. I did have a review up recently of Nier Automata. I'm saying that wrong. Yeah.
Automata.
Automata. Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's late, my friends. But yeah, no, I reviewed that. I liked it. So that's up there. If you want to be a sexy android that beats up trash can robots, it's a game for you.
That sounds like everything I've ever wanted in life.
It's a fun game though. But no, it is really good. So you can check that out. That's up on the site for RPG files right now. Rob, how about you?
Go to MMORPG.com and definitely check out all the work we've got going on there. Make sure to look at GameSpace.com and what they're trying to build there. And you can find my own personal work over on my blog, rantonrob.com.
Tell them about Zelda.
What's that?
Tell them about Zelda.
So with Zelda, I have done a personal challenge to myself to put out one shrine guide at least every day until I get all of them out. And there's about 130 of them in the game. A little bit less because some are just combat oriented, and that would just seem a little bit more ridiculous
Here's how
to
I
put the
beat
combat
this
ones,
thing.
but I might. Those would be towards the end, I guess. But I'll get the puzzle ones out there first. So as soon as we're wrapping up this, I got 3 more that I'm working on.
Before we wrap up, I'm supposed to ask you, since Wobbin has hung in here and watched this whole thing, has anybody here played the Sea of Thieves Alpha?
I have
No.
not.
Nope.
I have
Sorry,
not.
Wobbin. If we had, we would be telling you about it, trust me.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody wants to be a pirate. I want to be a pirate so bad. I literally wrote like a 2-minute pirate song for my students. It has like 5 guitar parts and everything. It's pretty cool. Sometime I'm going to stick it at the front of the show and just surprise everybody with a pirate shanty tune.
I would be totally down with that because of Jake and the Neverland Pirates. I'm good.
All right.
The
All right, guys.
Neverland Pirates, come for all the people.
We can't
That's all
top
I got.
that. That's a good
No,
end of the show.
That's how it ends. That's how the world ends.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, me singing. Conan, what is best in life? Chopping Rob's head off when he's fucking singing.
Please tell me we stopped recording before. That should be the end.
I stopped one. I
the
stopped
F-bomb.
one recorder. The other one is still going right now. Okay, I'm gonna save that. When we chop it up, that's gonna be right about an hour. I think that'll be a good show.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
I
right.
think it'll be a great show. I think we're a good trio.
Yeah, I think so too. I have to tell you guys though, I've been wondering what the chat address is this whole time. I would have been over there. I'm like, I don't know where to go. I'm quietly typing. Is it
yeah,
that?
It's just twitch.tv/MMORPG.com without the dot.
Wait a minute. I was there and it wasn't loading. So then it went over to the GameSpace one.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
I bet it's because of my crappy internet. That's probably
I was gonna say.
I'm talking to Tim Eisenman on mine.
Oh,
I think it's Eisenman.
I think he just goes by Eisen as a writer, but it's like Eisenzimmer or something like that.
Well, he's
Tim's
a Tim Don't Chill.
Yeah.
That's Tim Don't Chill. Sorry,
Tim
Tim.
is,
I butchered your last name.
Tim's a great writer on our website.
He is.
He writes a bazillion columns.
Tim Me, the mighty Don't Chill.
Yeah.
You
It's
are
got a-
quite the multitasker. I don't know how you're sitting here doing this and also maintaining a stream of speech right now, Bill.
I have no idea. Are you? Oh, you're watching.
Did you realize
this
I'm
live?
sitting here streaming
Yes.
The Legend of Zelda at the same now? Chris, I have been for like the last 45 minutes.
And that's a much harder game to play, to be perfectly honest.
You guys are
Zelda's
capable of
hardcore.
splitting your attention in a way that I am just not able to do.
Well, you got to realize I started off, streaming, and actually I was doing developer interviews. Like the second day I was writing for the site, I was interviewing Craig Morrison when he was at Funcom, and he was the
Age of
producer of Age of Conan,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting here interviewing this guy for like the first professional interview I've ever done. Have hundreds of people in chat on a stream and like doing all this, and I'm just like, didn't know enough to fucking care.
It's not
See,
that hard,
that's
really,
awesome.
especially if you play games. And I think when you play at MMOs, you tend to be really good at multitasking, because that's what it's about. Like when you're working with people and stuff like that too, in games.
You know, I used to get really nervous talking to developers, and every now and again I kind of will a little bit, but it's amazing. After you talk with them a few times, you start to realize they're just people,
Yeah.
and, like you're talking
And that
about a
their
thing that you
jobs are
both
just
enjoy.
jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't, since I've been in the military, I don't have that problem.
Yeah.
I don't get nervous talking to people. I don't fucking care enough.
Hey, Tearless just showed up. There's Timmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wobbin's the 4th silent member of the podcast. He's the one that doesn't actually talk on the podcast. He's just there in chat. You have to like dig into the annals of MMORPG's chat to figure it out.
You can give him a producer
Yeah.
credit. He's an executive producer.
Produced by Wobbin with a W.
Produced by Wobbin. I'm gonna add that to the show
Yeah,
notes. right now.
Wobbin. I am doing
All
really
right.
well clearing out Cold Harbor. I never really played that much of Cold Harbor. I just tried to like finish the game with my first character, so this has been kind of nice.
Guys, you have to help me title this thing. What would be a good title for the podcast?
Rob
Bill
says
knows
fuck
some-
a lot.
Yeah, there you go. Just call it Rant on Rob.
Yeah, Rant on Rob, special edition. What was the main topic? Like, how about the
Mass Effect. We spent a lot of time on.
How RPGs are stealing the MMO's audience.
Yeah, but we
Open
didn't
world
spend enough
RPGs
time
are
on that.
stealing-
That's like a whole other
Yeah.
podcast. Maybe the
Yeah.
Mass Effect and the subjectivity of reviews. Yeah,
It's a little academic.
it is a little academic, but so are we. Fuck. Fuck shit.
It's the fun. What's so good about a score? What's so good about a score anyway?
What's so big? What's a big deal about a number? I am beating a boss right now.
I like that. What's so good about a score anyway?
Yeah.
There we go. That'll work. All right, I have to figure out how to get back in Twitch. See, I'm getting all tongue-tied because of the hour. This happens to me when I'm tired. Anyhow, I was watching the NVIDIA CES stream, right? And they were giving away free cards in their stream. I was so frustrated because I could not reset my password that whole stinking time. It never sent it through to my email, so I lost my darn chance at a giveaway. So now to get back in chat, maybe it'll actually work.
I tried for a free iPad Pro on our NPR, what do you call it, NPR fundraiser today, because I'm like, you know what, I've never given to NPR, and I should, because I'm always listening to it. So I did the like $10 monthly thing and got rid of Hulu, because I never watch Hulu. But I'm like, oh, come on, please just let me win something for once. I've never won anything. I could use that iPad Pro. But no,
yeah,
it didn't happen.
Did you guys hear about the new podcast the people behind This American Life and Serial are doing? It's called S-Town.
It's called Gas Town?
S-Town is in Shit Town.
Oh, jeez.
It's freaking craziness, man. It's like digging into the history of this town, and there's like a murder, and there's a treasure hunt, and it beggars belief that this is actually real. But it's from, this crew where it's supposed to be real. But it seems interesting, and if it's from the people that do This American Life and Serial, it's worth a shot.
Ira Glass is great, man.
Oh, I love him.
I turned my wife on to on podcasts, because she's never really been like a podcast person, but she runs all the time, and she's like, I'm sick of listening to the same songs. I'm like, well, try podcasts. And she went running on podcasts, and now she's like, I'm gonna go run just so I can listen to This American Life and Serial.
Yeah, they are great for that. Although I tell you,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I just like the Fresh Air with Terry Gross. I love the interviews.
I haven't heard that one. I do a bunch of podcasts, but I made a rule for myself that I can't listen to them on my commute anymore, that's my audiobook time. So now I actually get through a ton of books, and when I'm home and the kids are down for their naps or whatever, that's kind of my podcast time.
Listen to, there's a good one. It goes through all 45 presidents, called Presidential. And it was done over the past election year. There's even so it goes each episode is a different president, and it's 1 hour biographies of each president. It's really good.
Oh, it seems interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff, frankly, I think I've probably forgotten more than I learned in school.
Oh my god, it's great to get back over it, because when you're in school, you don't go through presidents hardcore like that.
Yeah. It's an interesting thing, getting older and, thinking back at school, and now I feel like I critically think about things more. So with textbooks and everything, I always kind of wonder, what was the truth of that time? Because what's in a textbook may not necessarily be 100% accurate to the time and how things were perceived and things like that. It's all just very interesting. There's been a few things like that. They kind of dig into that. So this Lord Nash thing.
Yeah, please dig into this more while we're sitting here. I'm curious.
It's crazy. So they have the Nash poem. They have an overview. Well, the overview is just kind of did you guys ever play Muds at all?
No, I'm never a multi-user dungeon guy.
Okay.
No, I didn't do Muds.
So essentially, they you know what they are? They're just text-based kind of things. So they've taken a bunch of the things that they use to decorate their temple and their in-game Bible and stuff with. So it's a lot of descriptions in here. But if I recall, if they still have these things hosted, they used to have transcripts of their in-game ceremonies and stuff. And it was far out. The clan in there that everybody was afraid of was called the Black Conclave of Nashite, right? And they would go out and they would deliberately just kill everyone they saw. And their leader there, his name was Molo the Archlick, or however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
Would give them just all these high damage items. So they just slaughter everybody. They had the highest kill count in the game by a measure of hundreds. And these are small scale games.
Yeah.
So they got all this notoriety, and they were all so into it and had access to all the best stuff that everybody wanted to be part of this thing. All right, so other Nash-related topics being tortured for eternities. Every so often, if one disrespects Nash, or even if they don't, they are transported to Lord Nash's torture chamber to be tortured for eternities. It can be as few as 2 or as an infinite amount, but always in the extremely long time interval of the eternity. During this extended period of horror, the victim does not age, and time stops for the rest of the universe. So after all eternities are served, the victim is placed exactly where he was at the instant he was transported away, and time continues. The torture is, however, remembered vividly by the victim, and the victim waits as the eternities slowly pass.
Oh my god.
They got really into this.
Yeah.
Oh, what else do we got here?
I was just watching that the Raph Koster speech at GDC about how VR people have to be aware of the mistakes MMO people made when MMOs were first starting, and Raph Koster talks about a lady who was like whose character was like raped with a dummy, like on the video game. Like these video games had like this guy could like make a puppet out of your avatar, and like so he brought up like a puppet of the girl and then like forced her.
That was
to
about
watch.
a year ago.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, she wanted to file sexual assault.
Yeah.
Because virtual sexual assault. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
That is terrible.
crazy.
You know,